morning. Good morning to you, Louis.
Good morning.
Settling in for a couple of weeks here while Tim's on vacation.
A couple of weeks, Tim's got a sweet gig there. Last 2 weeks of the summer, I'm just going to take him off. So me tagging in, and it's great. I was really looking forward to not sleeping past 8 o'clock or going to bed at 8 o'clock the last 2 weeks of summer, right?
It is our life.
There you are. And
that's what we sign up for, I guess. Yeah.
And welcome to it. Yeah. Nice to have you here. Hey, maybe you'll bring the sunshine with you.
Let's hope.
Let's hope. Let's dry out from all that. We had 26 millimeters of precipitation just yesterday. Never mind what we had throughout we got off lightly. Hamilton got off lightly with all the rain and all the heavy thunderstorms and, of course, the tornadic activity that happened throughout the weekend in some areas. So we'll talk about the forecast coming up in a sec as far as today is concerned. But we'll see some sun today, a little bit, but there's still a chance of a shower. But this week actually, Tim picked a good week to be on. It's going to be a beautiful week, so we are going to dry out. Temperature 15 right now. We'll talk about it coming up. Looking at traffic this morning, that is no problem. That's our exclusive camera, doing fine, 403 and Waterdown Road area. To our MTO traffic cameras, we do have a situation on the QEW heading Toronto bound. So it's a Guelph line. It's a disabled vehicle, but it's really snarling things up. As you can see, coming past Brant Street, Fairview's even slow because of it. So that's really the only problem that we have at the moment. Everything else is moving okay. We'll look at weather and traffic as usual coming up in a few minutes. Right now, the news.
Okay, thanks very much. Well, people in the town of Ayr, which is between Cambridge and Woodstock, are cleaning up after a suspected tornado hit on Saturday. It caused a lot of damage to homes and businesses.
We've lost 2 new windows, probably 3 or 4 doors that were also put in on Friday. We lost part of our roof, and our daughter's bedroom is going to be gutted.
A news release from the township of North Dumfries, which includes Ayr, reported damage to a sports park and downed trees that led to a power outage. Police say the Ayr Home Hardware Center also sustained heavy damage with a big part of the roof coming off. Firefighters responded to a natural gas smell at the location. They shut off the power and the gas. No injuries have been reported. And heavy rainfall from that same storm system led to flooding in areas across Mississauga. Late yesterday afternoon, emergency crews rescued people in 5 vehicles that were stranded in the water on Highway 410 and Highway 401. Mississauga says all local creeks and rivers were either at capacity or flooding into parks and green spaces. Weather caused a number of traffic disruptions, dangerous road conditions and closures. No injuries have been reported. That storm also caused flight diversions and ground delays at Toronto Pearson Airport.
And due to the forecasted weather conditions, the World Rowing Executive Committee has made the decision to cancel all scheduled competitions and on-water training today at the World Rowing Senior, Under-23 and Under-19 Championships. Now, the Senior and Under-23 events will be moved to tomorrow, including the Repage from those 2 categories. Now, some of the events that were scheduled for tomorrow will now move to Wednesday, and there will be no practice starts tomorrow.
Mayors from across Ontario are meeting for a second day today in Ottawa. Premier Doug Ford is expected to address their annual summit of the Association of Municipalities of Ontario later this morning. Now, yesterday, Burlington Mayor Marianne Mead Ward called on all levels of government for more financial support to address what she describes as a humanitarian crisis in homelessness. She's proposed an action plan that includes appointing a dedicated minister to deal with the issue and to create a transition plan for those currently living in encampments. When asked by CHCH News if more taxation powers are needed, she points to money better spent on what she calls wraparound support.
After this individual supportive housing with wraparound services, and that means mental health and addictions support, as well as a whole range of other supports custom to the individuals in those units, they had no hospital visits.
St. Catharines Mayor Matt Cisco is also calling on the provincial and federal governments to introduce a new minister dedicated to tackling homelessness. St. Catharines already spends around $4 million on the downstream effects of encampments like cleanup crews and EMS calls. Municipal leaders say their budgets are strained because of rising costs associated with homelessness, mental health, and addictions.
A memorial service will be held today in Hamilton, marking the 82nd anniversary of the Dieppe raid. This is video from last year's service at the Veterans Memorial Park on Hamilton's Beach Boulevard. Today's event begins at 11, and the service will pay tribute to the more than 6,000 Allied forces, most of the Canadian who took part in the largest of the raid of the Second World War. The raid marked the largest single day of loss of life of Hamiltonians to date. 582 members of the Royal Hamilton Light Infantry took part in the raid in Dieppe, France on August 19, 1942. Nearly 197 of them died, and nearly 300 were wounded or taken prisoner.
A student from McMaster University is honoring the names and stories behind the soldiers killed in the world wars.
Hello, my name is Robert Dunlop Davidson, and I'm here to tell you my story. As a kid,
20-year-old Riley Wilson created this video about the life of a Second World War pilot, Robert Davidson, who died at 21 diverting his crashing plane away from homes in France. With a passion for storytelling, Wilson has brought Davidson's story to life through Faces to Names, an initiative that shares the stories of those listed on cenotaphs across Canada. She says the extensive research and effort were worth it to honor Davidson's legacy.
I went into the library and I looked at these old film reels of old Toronto Star newspapers, and that was in the library on this machine that I never knew was even usable before. It's important, I chose him and he did have some information on his page, but there were so many other young soldiers who had zero information on their page. Their names were spelt wrong, all that kind of stuff. So I think that as much as we can do to prevent them from being lost completely to time, these boys who had lives and had friends and all that kind of stuff, I think that we should do.
Wilson hopes to share even more stories about soldiers in the future. Well, the Stanley Cup is going to be in Waterdown today. It'll be right across the street from us, actually. Two-time Stanley Cup champion Carter Verhaeghe is going to be with the Cup at Harry Howell Arena on Highway 5 from noon until 1 this afternoon. The Florida Panther first brought the Cup home to Waterdown 3 years ago after winning it with the Tampa Bay Lightning. There will be a photo op for the first 300 people at the arena today. However, Verhaeghe will not be signing autographs. This is because of time and capacity limitations. City of Hamilton is offering a free skate from noon until 3 at the arena to celebrate.
And sticking with Sportsline, let's start with some baseball, where the Blue Jays were trying to avoid the sweep at the hands of the Cubs at Wrigley Field.
He clubs this one to right, and it is gone. Joey Loperfido with a home run. And how good does that feel for that young man as he rounds the bases?
Joey Loperfido hit his third home run of the season and first home run as a member of the Blue Jays. And that would be all the offense they would need as they held on for the 1-0 victory over the Cubs yesterday. Meanwhile, Bowden Francis was lights out on the mound for Toronto. He went 7 innings for the second start in a row, striking out 7 while allowing just 3 hits for his 6th win of the season. Jays return to the Rogers Center tonight to kick off a 7-game homestand. They'll send Kevin Gossman to the Hill to take on the Cincinnati Reds.
And Poma into the area, onside as he is onside. It's going to be the substitute to score his first goal in professional soccer, Matteo Schiavone.
Little Canadian Premier League action last night. Matteo Schiavone scored his first professional goal to break a late tie as Hamilton's Forge FC defeated Vancouver FC 2-1. David Chouanier also scored for Forge in the win. They're third in the last 9 days, which moves the defending champions to the top of the table in the CPL standings with 34 points in 19 games. Next up for Forge is Friday night when they take on York United in Toronto. Switching gears to the CFL, where the Hamilton Tiger Cats have reportedly fired defensive coordinator Mark Washington. TSN's Farhan Lalji reporting last night that Washington was let go following the Ticats' 47-22 loss to the Elks on Saturday night. He's set to be replaced by longtime CFL coach Chris Jones, who began the year as Edmonton's head coach, but was fired in mid-July after his team went 0-5 to start the season. Now, Jones went 8-33 over 2+ seasons with the Elks, but has won 4 Grey Cups in his CFL coaching career, including in 2012 with the Argos, where he served as a defensive coordinator under current Ticats head coach Scott Milanovich.
2nd and 10. Rourke looking for Hollins again, and that is intercepted on the other side of the field. It's Ford, and he'll take it all the way back for the pick 6. Bombers late in the half. Take it away and take it back.
It was a rough return to the CFL for the 2022 Most Outstanding Player, Canadian QB Nathan Rourke. The native of Victoria and former Holy Trinity Titan in Oakville completed just 8 passes for 126 yards and 2 interceptions as the Lions fell to the Blue Bombers for their 4th straight loss. Now, Rourke returned to BC last week and got the start on just 3 days of practice after he spent the last 18 months pursuing a career in the NFL. After the game, the 26-year-old publicly apologizing for his performance, saying, quote, "That was not my best football right there. I didn't make enough plays."
Hideki Matsuyama pours in a birdie to make it official. He's got his first playoff win. It came with all sorts of drama.
And in the PGA Tour yesterday, Hideki Matsuyama held on for a 2-shot victory to take the St. Jude Championship in the first leg of the FedEx Cup playoffs. Taylor Pendrith, the top Canadian, at 6 under.
12 minutes after 6 o'clock, let's get into this Monday here, the 19th of August. We have one problem on the highways, but not here. It's just a little bit busy coming out of Hamilton, heading toward Brant Street on the 403. That's one of our exclusive cameras. Where we do have the problem, it's the ramp now. The QEW and Guelph line that is blocked. The ramp is blocked, but the QEW is now open. We had a couple of lanes blocked through there. It's a disabled vehicle on the ramp, but flashing lights, of course. Everybody's got to slow down and have a look, and that's exactly what's happening. East of Lake looks good. Nothing Centennial Parkway. We're just kind of flipping you through some of these cameras, doing okay. Keep in mind, the 403, right around the 401 and the 410, some ramps are flooded there because of the heavy precipitation they had over the weekend. Let's get you into the temperature that we have at the moment. Temperature right now 16. It's become a mostly cloudy sky. We do have a bit of a breeze here this morning, north-northwest at 25. Air quality risk today is in the low category. That low pressure is finally going to leave us after the instability on the weekend. We're getting a more northerly flow at the moment as that ridge of high pressure starts to move its way towards us. We're going to still have some instability today. Still chance of a shower. Temperatures on the cool side, actually, about 21 degrees for the Horseshoe today. Maybe a little bit of sunshine later this afternoon, a little bit, but tonight fairly cloudy to partly cloudy skies and cool. Temperatures anywhere from 9 to 10 to 12 degrees, and then tomorrow temperatures cooler still, 20 degrees tomorrow. Keep in mind seasonal's 25, so mainly cloudy to a partly cloudy sky for the day tomorrow and temperature at 20. So out the door, 19th morning of August already. Notice I'm using the moon there. The sun's not up, doesn't come up till 6:30. I don't like doing that, but I have to. Mostly cloudy and 16 is our temp right now. Long range coming up, Annette, Louie.
Okay, coming up after the break, we're going to say good morning to Emily Vukovic with a preview of what's to come up in Chit Chat. And in business news, Canada is on the brink of a large supply chain disruption with either a looming strike or lockout on the rails. 6:16 right now, coming up on 6.
on the
17
button.
on the button.
There it is.
Here's Emily Vukovic with what's coming up in Chit Chat later today.
Hi, good morning. Well, we have a fan favorite father-son duo agreeing to host the Emmys.
This is awesome.
About that. I know, it's such good news. And Deadpool breaking records again at the box office. Deadpool and Wolverine, I should be specific, not just regular Deadpool. And Disney is apparently trying to become more affordable. We will discuss. AKA,
yeah, good luck with
that she knows.
Yeah.
You have some tips on saving money at Disney, right?
A few.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay, thanks very much. Okay, we are taking a look at business figures right now. The Canadian dollar is up 21 basis points in overseas trading at 73.17 cents U.S. Gold is up more than $4. Crude oil is down 50 cents, trading at $76.15 U.S. a barrel. Checking midday trading in Europe, markets down in London and Frankfurt, up just a little bit in Cuddy.
Over in Asia, markets were down in Tokyo, but up in Hong Kong and Shanghai. In North American markets, the TSX gained 21 points on Friday. The Dow added nearly 100 points, and the Nasdaq was up by 37 points.
Well, over 9,000 workers at Canada's two major railways are on the verge of a strike or a lockout, and it could happen as early as Thursday. It could lead to supply chain disruptions across the country. The union representing workers at Canadian Pacific Kansas City issued a 72-hour strike notice last night. That was quickly followed by lockout threats from CN Rail. CN says there has been no meaningful progress in talks despite weekend negotiations. Both of Canada's two largest railways have already started halting shipments, preparing for a possible work stoppage.
The July Consumer Price Index report is coming out tomorrow. Forecasters say they are expecting that the document from Statistics Canada will show inflation slowed to 2.4% from 2.7% in June. Now, if they are correct and the trend continues, they say the Bank of Canada could bring its key rate down to 3.75% by the end of the year. The central bank is scheduled to hold its next rate announcement on September 4th.
Canadian convenience store giant Couche-Tard has offered a preliminary takeover for 7-Eleven's parent company in Japan. A special committee has been set up to review the offer. 7-Eleven shares are up nearly 23% right now, valuing the company at the equivalent of $56 billion Canadian. Couche-Tard is valued at $58 billion. If this deal goes through, it would be the largest buyout of a Japanese company by a foreign firm.
More than half of Fortune 500 companies now consider artificial intelligence as a potential risk to their businesses. That's according to a Forbes report that looks at an Arise AI survey. It shows about 56% of the businesses surveyed flagged the technology as a concern. That's up more than 400% from the previous year. AI has surged in the past 2 years following the launch of OpenAI's ChatGPT in November 2022. Since then, major tech companies have poured billions into advancing AI systems.
X has announced it's going to close its operations in Brazil effective immediately. Elon Musk says the decision is to what he calls it's a response to what he calls the censorship orders by a judge in Brazil. Musk claims the judge secretly threatened one of the company's legal reps with arrest if it didn't comply with orders to remove certain content. Earlier this year, the Brazilian judge ordered X to block specific accounts while investigating so-called digital militias accused of spreading fake news and hate messages during the government of Brazil's far-right former president.
All right, taking a break right now. Brian will be back with traffic and your 7-day forecast. Stay with us.
Oh, Monday again. 6:24. Let's check traffic. Good news as far as the ramp is concerned from the Toronto-bound QEW to Guelph line. That is now open. So good news right there. Let's go to this problem that we have on the 403 at Eglinton. What we have is a lot of flooding still in the area. They are trying to clear it up. Some of the ramps around Eglinton and Cawthra to the 403 are now opening up, but they had a lot of flooding through this area, particularly the on and off ramps from Eglinton and Cawthra. But now it is starting to open up as we get a little further into the morning here. So that's the only problems that we have at the moment. Let's get to our temperature right now. Hamilton sitting at, we've come up a degree from last hour, 16 right now, same for Toronto, 15 Grimsby and Mississauga. So today, seasonal temperatures 25 and 14 for the overnight low. Those are our sun times. Sun doesn't come up till 6:30 this morning. We will see a little bit of sun. Those are our records for today. There is a chance of a shower for the day today. So if you're heading out for your morning walk with your pal this morning, temperature right now is 16. It is mostly cloudy. Sun's not quite up yet, but it will be in a few minutes. So looking at our 7-day forecast today, 21 degrees. So below seasonal for a few days. 21 today, chance of a shower this morning, and we could see a little bit of sunshine later on. 11 tonight, partly cloudy. Tomorrow, 20 degrees. A mix of sun and clouds, and look what happens as we head through the week. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, sunshine, temperatures climb. Looks like a fairly nice weekend to come. That's your forecast, Annette.
Okay. And just to cheer you up on this Monday morning, we've got video of a giant panda going viral for showing off her dance moves.
Now, this video is from a conservation and research center for giant pandas in China. The panda is swaying side to side with her furry arms up in the air, enjoying a good scratch while leaning back against a wall in her enclosure. Now, some say she has the moves of a champion street dancer. The bear no stranger to amusing antics. Last month, she mimicked a guitarist, holding up one leg and strumming away like a rock star during another of her now legendary grooming rituals. Just
I could watch panda videos all day long, especially with them when they tumble down things or they're just like walking around and falling down.
They also stole my dance moves, because that's the only dance move I have, is the just moving your arms
propped
like
up against
this.
a wall.
Like that's it, yeah.
Okay, we've got more dance moves and Brian's weather and traffic after the break.